Hello, people of Earth, and welcome to the Quiffcast with me, Rob Baines, and Ashley Richards, and our special guest for this episode, Mr. Sam Woodhall.
Hello.
Hello. How are you,
Hi.
Sam?
I'm good.
You're good.
Well, thank you.
That's
I'm
good. So just to start off, before we get into the subject areas, why don't you tell the audience, Sam, a little bit about you and a little bit about how we know each other as a friendship group-ish. I know you don't really know Ash that much, but you know me. So
I know you. And that's kind of where it all started to go wrong, really, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
No, well, I'm a Doctor Who fan, massive Doctor Who fan, which kind of explains why I know you and you know me.
Yeah. That's where it all started, really. The common ground was Doctor Who, YouTube, and get a little bit of gaming here and there.
Yeah, gaming. It was a bit of VFX as well, visual effects as well, that kind of tied us all kind of in the same ribbon. But yeah, it was YouTube that kind of came across your stuff and vice versa. Yeah. And we just said, hey, I like your stuff. Mm-hmm. Friend request sent on Facebook. And it just kind of bit of bouncing back and forth. Yeah. And yeah, that was pretty much it, really. And it all went downhill from there.
Yeah, definitely downhill. It is crazy how much. I know we always come back to YouTube here, but it is crazy how a lot of the friendship groups that have happened have been because of YouTube.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
definitely
technology.
Pretty much.
Technology has brought us together.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Which is a very good, good point to make.
It is crazy. But today, what else do you do sound like as a
occupation?
Yeah.
Was that the French word for occupation? Well, I'm a video editor and motion graphics artist. I cut several. Well, I have cut several, shorts and a few indie feature films. Mostly commercial and corporate work. Yeah. Motion graphics stuff for companies, law, training firms, that kind of thing. So that's the kind of area I'm in. Yeah. But I kind of built that around my obsession of technology as well. Mm-hmm. Kind of all started travelling back in time to 2009 when I got my first MacBook Pro.
Oh,
with
topical.
Final Cut Pro. Yes, it kind of relates to the story that we're going to be talking about today. But got my first MacBook Pro. Uh-huh. I got Final Cut Pro 6 at the time. I believe that was in 2009. Mm-hmm. And then Final Cut Pro 7 was released shortly after. And that's kind of how I started this obsession and this fantasy. Desire.
Your filmmaking fantasy come to life.
Yeah, but this kind of obsession that kind of sparked from that, like, what happens if I do this kind of thing in a program and in an editing suite, and it all sparked from that one moment. So
also experimental.
Fantastic. Exactly.
It was. I mean, I never used a Mac before until that time. Everybody kept saying, "Oh, you should get a Mac for the stuff you do," and I'm like, "Well, okay, but yeah." And then I was on a PC at that time. I was like, I could really do with a new something new than this, because it had like a virus every other week. I got to keep on. Yeah. I was tempted to throw it out the window at one point. And
the irony of throwing a Windows computer out of the window.
Through the window, yeah. There's such a irony there that
I always remember when you were sort of pushing me towards switching from Windows to Mac. I mean, I've still got my PC right next to me, but it is gathering.
When was the last time you booted that up, though? To be fair,
the last time I'll tell you when it was. It was actually when I was doing the Quiff Legion.
Of course,
because I couldn't access some
of the models,
certain 3D models. So I had to put some call in the PC, and
Steam
and
engine.
painfully wait for a few, like a 3-second jet thing to render.
Yeah, you kind
I
of
also remember the time. The thing that nearly pushed me off the edge when I was using PC was when I was exporting a bit of client work for one of my clients, and it was faster just to send to you to render than
It was actually.
it took 30
I remember
hours
that.
to render one project,
For you.
and you could do it in
And
a
it took like 2 hours and 3 or something,
Yeah.
something silly. In comparison, it was a very quick. And even then, that my computer then at the time wasn't that great. It was a
But-
very. The graphics card wasn't great. It wasn't a top end iMac or anything like that. It was
No.
just the bog standard thing, and it still performed really, really well.
Yeah,
So it was quite disconcerting, to
Yeah.
say the least.
but never turned back. And Ash, how long have you been an Appleman?
An Appleman.
An Appleman.
Well, I got my first Mac in 2011, so a bit later than
Alright.
Sam.
Oh goodness me!
Yeah. So I mostly just got it just for all the when I started to get into the app development side of stuff. So I invested some money into get my Mac. So I did it some more rather than because I started on my granddad's Mac that he got.
Yeah.
Like, I think from one of the first iMacs, and and then I just started off from there, continued creating apps and video editing and all, but nothing client work or anything like that.
More like it's more
Just-
with video editing. It's more personal.
Yeah.
And like YouTube stuff for you. I suppose we all do our own bits of YouTube and
Yeah,
stuff.
we do. Yeah.
But yeah, now that I've gone with Apple, it's just I find it when I was doing my masters, it was on PCs, and I was actually I felt really weird because like, God, this feels alien to me now. PC
you
feels
feel like
very
that.
alien to me, and I was like, oh my God, this is weird. But yeah, I've just I've adapted very well to Mac and all the devices that associate with that.
They work well with each other. There's a symbiotic kind of connection between a lot of the Apple products. Because as soon as I got my laptop, the iPhone was out just a few years before then. I never had an iPhone. I had a Samsung like flip phone.
Yes.
Because they were cool at the time. But it very quickly dawned on me that this thing was, not the thing I wanted to take forward. And
Dying.
so
It's dying.
I got my first iPhone was an iPhone 3GS.
Oh,
And
blimey.
that was my, that was like, oh Christ, when was that? 2000 and... I think I got my iPhone before I got my MacBook, but I can't quite remember.
Possibly 2008, maybe.
I think it was 2008, I got my MacBook in 2009, so yeah, it probably was around then. But yeah, I mean, it kind of just, everything then circled around this ecosystem that I kind of... It's only gotten better as well in the recent years because of iCloud and the kind of machine learning that Apple do, which is where that if you have your iPhone next to your Mac, you can answer texts and answer phone calls and do all that. That machine learning is like, well, your phone's right there, your computer's right here, you're working on your computer now, you don't need to pick up your phone to answer a text, you can answer here.
Yeah.
It's just everything kind of clicks together a lot more, and I've found that
Yeah.
a lot better on the Apple ecosystem than I have on the Windows ecosystem. I've never used a Windows phone. I don't know what the kind of thing is.
No, I
But
don't think
no
there's that
idea.
much connectivity between them. I mean, I'm sure there's some, but I think that each have its pros and cons. But I've definitely adapted to how. I mean, I think when I first started with like iPhones and whatnot, it was like it's a bit difficult to get used to. Like, oh, I've got to sync it with iTunes and whatnot. I can't can't put videos, files, and music files directly onto the phone straight away like I'm used to, like just plugging a USB in and whatnot. But there's ways around it and whatnot. So
Yeah,
it's,
of course.
and
Well,
and they've evolved quite a lot. So it's the evolution with the updates and whatnot has just made it a lot more accessible to people, I think, and that's why they're more popular with a lot of different generations now.
Yeah. Well, it kind of comes down to as well that because you came from a Samsung, didn't you? Before
Yeah.
you went to an, I don't know what was it, a Samsung S5 or
I can't remember actually. I think an S2 or an S3.
3? Yeah,
I think
one of those two.
I think that the iPhone 6 Plus is my first iPhone.
Because like, how did you find the kind of? Because obviously the operating systems are very different between an iPhone and an Android. Android's a lot more open source, and that's probably why things are a lot easier to do. But it's also, in my experience, a lot easier to break.
Yes.
Whereas with an iPhone, the software inside's a lot more sandbox and secured, that you can't, go in there and meddle with stuff and hence ruin your phone. I mean, you can jailbreak it, but there's reasons why Apple don't allow that publicly, or they don't publicise that you can do it, because there's risks involved to your data, your security, the information on your phone.
Yeah,
and it's legal as well. So
yeah, exactly. There's that factor as well.
There's that.
I mean,
as well.
How does that? Have you ever done anything for Android, Ash? Like, have you ever worked on like an app for Android? Have you coded anything that might be cross-platform?
Well, I know there's Unity that is easily multi-platform, that you can make one thing and then it can distribute it to Windows, Mac, Android, iOS, you name it. But I have previously looked into Android. I mean, I did one for my dad, but it was very awful. I used one of these free creation tools, Android. Can't really remember the name of it, but it's one of the popular free ones you just still online. Which is just awful interface.
I'm just curious because it's a bit like, it just seems like it's more of a. I mean, you've got the App Store. And
the App Store is like more attractive to media, I think. Purely because, like, if you think of the App Store, get this thing on the App Store. Not many people say, like, get on the Google Play Store.
Get on the Play Store.
Yeah. I also find that there's a lot better apps. The quality and the kind of the bracket that I'm trying to think of the kind of the level that Apple has in terms of quality, the quality control.
Yeah,
is higher on the iPhone App Store, on the iOS and Mac App Store, than it is, I'd find, on the Google App Store.
It's because you've got to go for
on an Android.
You've got to go for a review of progress rather than Play Store. You just boom and it's on there without no review.
Yeah.
So there's likely.
I just feel like the kind of the quality control, less apps make it through that can cause security risks for your iPhone. The ones that are found are removed instantly, and it's very much it's more of a vetted process than I found on the Android stores. Yeah. And I like that. Some people are really kind of against the idea that let me put what I want on my own phone. It's like, no, I'd rather not let an app have access to all of my data. Thank you very much.
They're more,
everyone has their own like sort of concerns and whatnot, but I think it depends how they present them.
Apple are very consumer wary, they want to protect the users rather than break it or
exactly,
which is very good.
Yeah. Okay, right. I think this might be a good time. This might be a good time to talk about the history of Apple. Now, I don't know that much about Apple as the history of it, but I'm very much aware that it's evolved significantly.
It's a very unusual. I see it as a very kind of. It's a very much a up and down history. Apple didn't really have a great. Trying to think of it now. It did have a great start. It lost a lot of It lost a lot of kind of middle ground over time, and then it kind of gained it back again.
Yeah,
it was mainly because obviously Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak created the company. I'm trying to think of the year now. 1976.
Was that?
And I think So they recently celebrated I think it was last year, their 30th. Last January they celebrated their 30th anniversary. No, was it 30th?
I keep forgetting that they've done like a lot of there's the really old like Macintosh computers
Yes. It was the Apple One, I believe, was the first one. I may have.
But that was
I think it was Lisa. Yeah, I think it was Apple One.
It was the Apple One.
Was the first one.
It was a major flop.
It was a major flop, and then a couple of years later, 1984, they released the Macintosh, which is what the computer that we now know. And that was very successful because I think that's when Steve left. I think Steve left after the Macintosh was released, and he. I think it was around the early 90s. It really started to decline. I think Steve left in about 89. I think, or he got fired, should we say, because obviously in that time the board of directors decided he's not doing very much for the company. He's not pushing us in the right direction. He's we're going to get the guy from Pepsi in. There was a guy who was the owner or the previous CEO for Pepsi, or I can't remember who it was, the marketing director, or if it was I can't quite remember his name, but he I think it was I think John. Hang on, I've got his name on the tip of my head. John Scully, I think it is.
John Scully.
He was the Pepsi. He was something to do with Pepsi CEO or whatever, and he helped Apple kind of get back on track, but it became a bit of a struggle between him and Jobs, and the board of directors picked Scully over Jobs to help run the company, and Jobs then kind of went, right, I'm out.
Right.
And he then left Apple and went to a company called Next Inc., which
not to be confused with the clothing store.
With the clothing store. It was a computer company. It was capital N, lowercase e, uppercase X, and uppercase T.
All right.
And it helped found Pixar.
Oh.
So that's kind of how that transpired. And Next went on to make, I think it was Next and Pixar went on to make Toy Story. And Steve Jobs produced that. If you watch the opening credits, his name is on the front as a producer.
Oh, blimey.
And it's kind of a weird thing. Just sidetracking comes full circle for me, because my favourite movie growing up, and probably the same for many other people, was Toy Story.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And that kind of full circle with me growing up loving Toy Story, finding Apple, and coming back to discover that Steve Jobs produced it. Was a real kind of holy crap moment. It was one of those, Twilight Zone moments of woo-doo, woo-doo in my head. And it was a bit weird. And then Steve came back to Apple and then just kind of killed off loads of his, not literally killed off, but, got rid of members of his board and said, right, I'm bringing in these people. And helped to kind of reinvigorate the Mac again, and that's where the iMac came from, the PowerBook, the MacBook Pro, everything that kind of all stemmed then from this new age of Apple.
When did they start doing like the stuff where it was like more, when did they start introducing things like the iPod and whatnot? So was it the iPod was the first
2001.
2001,
I believe 2001. I think so. And it's that was that's what really put Apple on the map. I feel
it sort of I think that kind of thing opened. It made Apple as a company kind of hip. Like
yes,
they were doing quite a lot of marketing for like all these dancing people in colour.
Oh yeah,
colour backgrounds.
That was for the iPod Nano. That was a few years late. Yeah.
All right. I know they were really trying to push for a more broad audience.
Definitely. And I think it was what was I going to say now? The iPod, the original iPod, could only fit like 1,000 songs.
Yeah.
Or something really minimal. I remember it being very small. Kind of like, wow, that's... But back in that time,
that was
very much that was loads. Like,
yeah.
You could fit 1,000 songs in your pocket. Oh my god, this is revolutionary. And then they brought out...
I don't even have to flick through my discs in the
case.
Change
CDs, mixtapes were things. And it was the click wheel that was revolutionary. That was the it was the play, pause, stop and fast forward buttons as click buttons, and then that was the first iPod. It was a massive, bulky thing, and you could only get your songs on your computer via FireWire.
All right.
And that was because it was the fastest transferable data transfer cable. Because obviously, to get loads of songs on your iPod, you need fast data transfers. And USB wasn't a thing then. I don't think it really kind of came around for a while.
Quite as popular.
No.
Didn't USB come round in the late 90s?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, but I think it was kind
I don't think it was like
adapted.
as like sort of popular.
It's a bit like USB-C is now currently, and a few products are kind of taking it on, but it's not mainstream just yet.
I watched something about PlayStation today, and it was I didn't realise the USB came as early as it did, because obviously I forget that there was USB ports on the PlayStation 2.
Yes, there was, yeah.
And
oh, God, there was, yeah.
Yeah.
So you could transfer media across. You could transfer music across, couldn't you?
Mm-hmm.
I remember that. Yeah.
Well, the USBs were basically for devices like the iToy camera and whatnot.
Oh, yeah, that was it. Yeah, of course.
And stuff like that.
Oh, it's your PS3. I'm thinking you can transfer songs across.
Yes. Yeah.
That's my bad. Yeah, it's I know.
Apparently, 21 years ago, it was designed. The USB.
What, the USB?
USB.
Blimey.
So it's not really that long ago.
No,
I'm older than USB.
There you go.
Yeah,
that's scary to think.
Yeah,
1996.
You're older than a slot, mate.
I'm older than a data port. That's something to consider, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, so from there, then the iPod Touch.
Mm-hmm.
I think the iPhone came out before the iPod Touch.
I remember watching like a video about the first iPhone, and I just loved how like when he was presenting it, it was just like, this is revolutionary, and it's like can make it's like just watching it back now. It's so weird to watch, and then see like I was watching on my current iPhone, and it just like usually listing all these things like. Yeah, that's a bit. Not much really, is it? But
yeah, I've looked back at previous conferences and then like, what?
Yeah,
so old.
And then when the iPhone came out, it just kind of it really
took off.
It took off. Yeah, that's kind of I think that's what put Apple on the on the map again. I feel like they kind of went, you know what, we're going to revolutionise the phone. Here you go.
Boom.
Boom.
And then they've got loads of things now with like the iPads now.
I love the. Do you hear about the story that happened when Steve Jobs announced the iPhone, and what BlackBerry said shortly after it?
No,
I may have heard about
it. Apparently, the founder and vice chairman of BlackBerry, I don't know his name. But apparently he was watching it on telly. I think he was on his treadmill, if I remember correctly. And I think he said, like, I remember him tweeting, like, what? Question mark? Or something like, like, how? Question mark? Something like that. And I remember vividly they had a press conference or something along the lines of, it was a... I don't know what it was. There was some sort of conversation he was having with somebody, and he said famous last words, "We'll be fine," which I kind of find absolutely hilarious. The owner and founder of BlackBerry went, we'll be fine."
No.
Well, no. Saying that though, they have just released a new phone.
Have they?
Have.
I've heard of it.
In the last couple of days, they've just brought out a new phone, which is, I think, a bigger touch screen. But the buttons are still there.
I was about to say, it's the one with still got the hard coded
just going back
buttons.
to square one, really.
Well, they recently released a. I don't know if it's released actually. It might not be released. But haven't they released like a new Nokia phone, which is like
it's based on the old Nokia 5310.
It's just it's designed like modern, but it's. Basically just a phone.
I saw a picture of it, and the colour was like a lime green, and it was horrible.
Yeah.
But I think that's quite nostalgic and quite nice.
Yeah,
it's nice.
It's trying to adapt the old into the new.
Yeah.
But I think it's beneficial for people who just don't really want, because there are people out there who don't want to adapt to this new technology.
I don't think my granddad wants an iPhone 7 Plus.
No.
You know what I mean? I feel like he'd be happy with like just a basic flip phone. I gave him my old flip phone, actually, my granddad.
Did you?
And he still hasn't used it. Which is kind of sad, really. I think I'm going to have it back off him. But,
What about then? We've talked about like the iPhones, and there's been a lot of iPhones now if you think about it, really.
Oh yeah, well, gosh.
There's how many have there been?
I'm going to actually have a look now. I'm going to actually have a look.
How many have there actually been? But anyway, yeah, you have a look. And there's presently, let's talk about present for the second. There's a lot of new stuff out. There's the new MacBook Pro out with the fancy touch thing. I was actually having a go at that the other day. I was like, that's quite cool, but look at that price tag.
Yeah.
There's a price tag.
It's
that's the thing you always have to think. You know, you can like praise Apple so much, but then it's so pricey.
But when you see
ridiculous.
the prices, it's just like
you are. In some cases, you are paying for the brand.
Yeah.
In most cases, I think.
Without a doubt.
To go back a bit, there have been 15 iPhone models released
15?
since 2007. Yeah.
Blimey, that is ridiculous.
Including like the 5C and the SE and the 7 and the 7 Plus.
There's just multiple models.
A bit crazy.
Blimey. There's multiple iPads as well. There's the Apple Watch out,
which I wear. I have an Apple Watch.
You wear. I was thinking of actually getting one, but then I thought I don't even wear a watch. So
honestly, I never used to wear one either until I thought, you know what, I'm going to get one. I think like it might actually help me.
Yeah.
Honestly, I have found myself having an increased productivity a little bit from having one. I've had one for about a year now, coming up to, and it's always helpful in terms of, for example, if I'm driving and I need to find directions to somewhere, I load up Maps, which has actually got a lot better. That's one thing I've got to mention. Apple Maps is a lot better than what it used to be. Just kind of putting it out there. If I need to, if my turning's coming up soon, and I know if I need to turn a left or a right, and I'm approaching that turn, the watch taps me to tell me that your turn is coming up.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's really, really useful.
Yeah.
For that kind of thing, but I
may get one eventually, awesome. But it's like
if you're going to get one, get this. Just again, wait for obviously Series 2 is out now.
Yeah.
So get one of them because they're more waterproof, they're more durable.
Well, it is waterproof.
So it is waterproof. Yeah, you can swim with it. And you know what the great thing is with the? I'm putting a feature out there now, but on the Series 2, if you go swimming, and obviously because the speaker's on the iPhone, and the speaker is in an open port that water can get into. What it does is there's a one-way kind of mechanism involved that stops the water getting in, and when you're out of the pool,
it spurts
what
it
the
out.
watch does, it vibrates and pushes the water out.
Are we talking about the iPhone or the
This
the
is
watch?
the watch.
The iPhone's not waterproof, is it yet?
It is.
Is it?
The iPhone 7 and 7 Plus is, yeah.
Well,
is it?
Ish.
Yes. Kind of. It's water resistant.
Kind of. You can't say kind of for waterproof. It's not. It's either waterproof or it's not.
It's water resistant. It's waterproof for up to. Is it? I don't know if it's 5 or 10 meters.
I suppose
it's not that far.
I don't know, but so I watched a video of someone taking it to 25 meters
so nervous
for half
doing
an hour.
And it survived.
Nervous. So
I was still nervous about putting like the first.
Oh,
like,
I would be. Yeah, I mean,
camera,
it's only available for like half an hour, but like even then, if you like drop it in the bath, for example, it's not going to damage it. You're fine. Just dry it off. There is a warning that comes up on your phone though if you've dropped it in water. It says before you connect it to power, is be careful that make sure the phone's dry before you do it. So it does come with a warning message. So it's pretty cool.
That is crazy. What's your opinions on the iPad Pro?
Honestly, I if I hadn't have because I got an iPad from my friend who was selling one, and if I hadn't have got that, I would have gone for an iPad Pro, particularly the iPad Pro, the 9-inch one, not the not the massive one, the smaller one that looks closer to the normal iPad, because I like to do a lot of drawing. I like to do a lot of doodles, and a lot of the work I've been doing lately is because I use my iPad as a clapperboard.
Yes.
There's an app that I use which is timecode based, and it runs off cameras. Whenever I'm on a shoot, I use that to sync cameras up together, and I suppose having a faster iPad would have made that a lot nicer to work with.
I suppose, yeah.
And running kind of dailies through from the producer and go, this is what we've just shot, have a look at this, yada yada yada. Having a place to kind of just, I don't know, like, just doodle on the train and do some designs and drawings. I do a bit of graphic design as well, so I do a bit of that, and that kind of thing would have been nice with the pencil and stuff. But I think there's a market for it. But
I think it's graphic design's quite. I think I can see it with graphic design quite a lot. What about apps with the iPad? Have you ever had to do anything like with apps on the iPad Pro yet, Ash?
I mean, it's all very dynamic. So I mean,
yeah. But do you have to Did you have to sort of?
You don't really have to do much optimization. It's
right.
I mean, as long as it's compatible with an iPad, it will kind of like rescale, and the iPad will do it all by itself. So we don't really have to do much. I
always think that it'd look too like you know how you look at some apps, and they're the same. If they're not optimized for the iPad, it's like, oh my god, there's a huge, and it's not doesn't look right.
I mean, there's.
But the great thing is
massive.
Is that because it's. Sorry, Ash, show you.
There's a massive screen, so that they've introduced like this split. The split, so you can have like two screens working at the same time.
Oh yeah.
So like a quarter of the screen is like a table view, and then like the right hand screen is like a detail view for it. So it kind of like it's just like multiple screens in one area to save.
So you can do like multiple
multitasking.
Yeah, if need be.
Which is especially useful if you're doing like script writing on one side and you're looking at research on another, or watching a video on the other side. You're kind of balancing those tasks out, which is really nice.
Cool. That is really cool. Now, just before we talk any more about Apple, but maybe you guys can think of maybe future products for the Apple whilst I do this next segment. I just want to say a word from our sponsor. So Quifco is bringing out a new. Quifco is unofficially working with Apple unofficially, and they are bringing out the new iQuif, which is quite an interesting device. Literally, it's just a big semicircular sphere thing.
Okay.
That you stick on your head.
On your head.
And you can download new quiffs.
Oh, I see.
Wow.
Right? And then with that technology, you can just go on iTunes, see if there's any quiffs you'd like to do, and then just through iTunes it syncs it up.
Oh, I see.
Does everything for you.
Oh, wow.
And if you, and the only problem is if you share an iCloud, like if you got people have like family iClouds and stuff.
Yeah.
The only problem is it will synchronize that. So if you got multiple iQuifs, your whole family will have the same hair as you.
Oh, I see. So
which can get a bit awkward.
I would imagine
but they are working on that.
As we speak.
Bit of a bug
that
there.
can be a bit awkward
Tim
if you
Cook.
just
Get on
like get on that, Tim.
Get on that one, Tim. There's an idea there.
He's not answering my emails.
Wow.
I can see
So, so like, yeah, we would be awkward if you were walking around town and everyone, you literally have a family with quiffs and stuff. But it is revolutionary, and it saves a lot of time. You can get up in the morning, stick your iQuif on, and then your hair's done.
No hairbrush required.
No hairbrush required. No,
Boom.
it washes, styles your hair.
I was going to say, can you shower with it? Like, is it
water resistant?
Is it water resistant?
It's Yes.
Okay.
It's got a cover.
Oh,
Okay.
It's got there's a little hole on the top, and you can stick one of those umbrellas in it,
Oh, I see.
wow, okay.
On the little
So-
umbrella hats.
so you can
I was
shower
thinking
with
of a
it.
hairnet, really.
No,
I was thinking
it's-
that might.
It's not a hairnet. It's a physical umbrella sold separately.
Okay. So separately. How
Yeah.
much for the umbrella?
Now, it's officially licensed umbrella from Apple, so it's
Okay.
$200.
$200 pounds.
Yeah.
That's
Um,
expensive.
And the iQuiff itself it's about $5,000.
Oh,
Wow.
I see.
So I mean, it's
must have a lot
one
more
of the
tech.
cheapest Quiff. It is a cheap Quiffco product, to be honest.
That's cheap.
Yeah.
That's cheap.
Yeah, Quiffco products are quite expensive.
Okay.
Hair expensive.
How expensive.
Hair expensive.
Well,
So
okay.
it's on pre-order. It comes out
Cool.
soon, and there's
Nice.
loads of apps for it. You can it's got iPhone connectivity and all that stuff.
I
Wow.
expect so.
You get notifications on it.
Oh, so your head vibrates.
Yeah, and
It's the quiff wiggle.
if you press down on your hair, after you've done it, it activates Siri.
Wow, there you go.
Because when it starts your hair, it puts little Siri thing in. So you just press your hair. Boop, hello.
Wow.
You know it's quite good. So yeah, pre-order that now.
Play me songs from Hairspray.
Yeah, so yeah, you can get your Quiff to play
You
music
mull it
to
on.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
iQuiff, remind me. I've got a meeting at 5:00. Okay.
Oh.
What the hell? Why's your head talking to you? I don't know, it's just
No.
it's just a
just
new
so weird.
iQuiff, isn't it?
Sounds like an amazing idea.
Awesome.
It is. Yeah.
Well, I feel like my ideas of kind of what I wanted to suggest for Apple.
Well, Quiffco is quite ahead, but you go ahead.
Literally ahead.
Where do you think Apple will go in the future?
Well, TV's a big thing at the minute.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, YouTube have just announced. Speaking of YouTube, go to YouTube. Have just announced their TV network subscription model.
Oh.
They've just released that you can subscribe to a TV network and watch all of your favorite channels on YouTube.
Hmm.
So you can pay for cable television and watch on YouTube, and still have access to all of the content creators on YouTube that you already are subscribed to.
Oh, I see.
Oh.
So you, for example, you could watch a video about The Walking Dead. You could watch The Walking Dead, for example, and you could then, at the end of the episode, it will sort of scale down like Netflix does and gives you suggestions for the next episode.
Mm-hmm.
But it will do more in the sense that you could be given a link to,
their
say,
official YouTube channel or something.
to the YouTube channel, or to people reacting to that episode that's just happened.
Right.
So you can engage more with content creators
Yeah.
live, or
It blurs
virtually
the
after.
line. It sounds
It
like it's going
does.
to blur the line between.
It's going to make
like, industry
TV and it's making TV
online.
and content creators and the audience a lot more together. And
Yeah.
I feel that's kind of a good move for television, because I think
That's
TV has been stagnant for so long
Mm-hmm.
that it's kind of nice to see this happening, and I hope it comes to the UK,
Yes.
because I don't watch a lot of TV anymore.
No.
You know, things I watch are Doctor Who, Sherlock, and some things around Christmas.
Same, pretty
That's
much.
about it. And so, being able to go, yeah, sure, I'd rather pay, 10 quid a month, for example,
Yeah.
for no ads during TV shows and for no ads on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of thing. I'd rather pay that than pay a TV license.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, because I'm not going to watch much TV, I'd rather watch it through YouTube. So, but yeah, that's another
That's
thing.
cool.
But
That's what I think if the dude, I mean, they did with the Apple TV, but I don't think that's
Yeah.
taken off as much as any
I
of the
don't, well, we've got one of the new ones, and
Yeah.
because I got it for my mum's birthday,
Mhm.
and she loves it. She thinks it's really cool. I just feel like it needs. There's a gap
More.
that needs bridging somehow. I just feel like it's not been well not received. Well, kind of advertised, marketed. Yeah, it's not. It needs more there. But I
Because
feel like
it
TV
hasn't
is-
been it definitely hasn't been a main focus of theirs.
No, not definitely. I think the main focus is the iPhones.
The
That's their main
iPhones,
focus, and
it's
the iPhones, the
things-
iPads.
things that individuals can have.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can sell 20,000 iPhones to 5,000 Apple TVs. You know, their profits in that margin in that bracket.
Yeah.
But I think TV is where I think Apple either should go look into a bit more, or maybe they will go into a bit more. But the main thing I want to see from Apple is a new Mac Pro, because the last time that was updated was 2013. So
yeah, blimey, yeah.
There's news that they're going to be doing more with it, but we shall see.
Yeah,
we shall see.
What about you, Ash?
Hello.
All right.
What about me?
Yeah, what would you like to see of future Apple stuff? Maybe in relation to your app development, or like in general. What?
Well,
what do you think, Ash?
What do I think? Well, there's been some updates regarding iOS 10.3, which is introducing a brilliant feature which has been missing from the App Store, which is for developers to respond to reviews on an app.
Only just now they brought that in.
Yeah, well, it's coming to 10.3, so when someone writes a review, we, the developers, will be able to respond to them saying, blah, 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 thanks for trying it out, you can try this.
Thanks for trying it out.
You know,
yeah.
Trying to get
I can imagine that's the kind of comment, that's the kind of response you'd take, Ash. Oh, blah, blah, blah. Thanks, bye.
You say that, though, but I've seen on the App Store so many reviews giving them 1 star because my app keeps crashing.
Exactly.
Rubbish app, don't buy it. You know, it's like...
Exactly.
Well, you know...
That's not feedback,
we have got
though,
support
really?
email. That's not feedback, that's just a complaint.
It's just complaining. Like, it's not... I think good feedback would be to tell the... tell the app developer where it went wrong, rather than, it's not working. What
constructive
part's not
feedback
working,
is always... I mean, it's never a bad thing to go, this is a fantastic app, I feel like it can be improved in these 3 areas, or in these 2 areas. I feel like it's not the kind of app I would get, but maybe if these things were added, I might reconsider it. So things like that. I mean, I'm giving constructive reviews and feedback, because I do it a lot on the Mac App Store for Mac apps.
Yeah.
I always give kind of feedback going... I always kind of speak to other customers about the app. I always go, right, the app doesn't do this, but it does do this really well.
Yeah.
You know, look at these other apps for these kind of alternatives. I just try and be a bit more thorough.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that they're now being able to kind of reply going, well, if you've got a problem, please email our support.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I definitely think it's an important thing, as you say, Ash, and it definitely would benefit you.
Yeah, I mean, I've had reviews in the past about exactly what you were saying, Sam, about saying, oh, it's crashing, it's not working, kind of thing. I'm like, if you...
That doesn't give us any help.
Contact us
what are you doing,
directly, know.
What are you doing that starts the crash?
Exactly.
Are you pushing a button that's not meant to be there? Are you doing a chain of events that then crashes the app?
Yeah.
People don't... I think that's kind of just ignorance and just like people going, oh, I don't like it anymore. But,
yeah, definitely. Yeah.
But I was going to say, actually, but with the app development and stuff, so I don't know about how you feel about it, Ash, because I feel like it's quite an innovative approach to it. But like the playgrounds that are now in 10 point in iOS 10, the way you can build Swift playgrounds and code things. How have you found that?
I mean, I haven't actually played with it a lot myself, actually, because I'm not...
Okay, then, never mind.
I mean, I'm not really much into Swift. I haven't really used Swift. I'm still on Objective-C because I know it, and I know the language, kind of thing. But maybe at one point I might look into Swift a bit more. I know it's like a simplified Objective-C.
Do you know what I want to see? Just
what about you, Rob?
What about you, Rob? Yeah.
You know what I want to see? I want to see more... I mean, this might be general for just technology in a general sense, but I'd like to see augmented reality. As in, like, sort of...
I've got to show you a video, actually, about that.
Well, you can't show it here because it's a podcast.
No, just afterwards. But if you want to leave this in, leave it in. But basically, there was an augmented reality thing on a TV network, on a weather channel, that they were talking about cars, talking about particular cars in particular weather conditions.
Yeah.
And they had this screen with this Land Rover.
Yes, I have seen that. I
You've
have
seen that
actually
one?
seen that. Yeah, because
And it kind of comes out of the screen, and she can walk around it, and it's augmented, and it's really cool. But
like it's almost like a hood on the windscreen sort of thing. I think that's quite cool, and I think it's like with cars and stuff, they've implemented like Apple thing in it. Have they got like an Apple
CarPlay?
CarPlay, yeah. So there's things like that. I think it's connecting all these things together. It's quite nice, and I'd like to see where Apple goes with it in the future. Really, with connecting to different devices that we've never really thought of. I mean, you know, with cars, it's like, oh, I never really saw that coming. Really, to be honest, what's the next thing? Apple Mirror. You know, it's you brush your teeth and brush your teeth and more, and there's your Facebook on the mirror and stuff. It's things like that. I think it'd be really amazing. I mean, they've made a pencil, so I won't put anything past them. I won't put anything past them, really.
That's very true. Very true.
But I think it's, you know, Apple's gonna probably keep on going, and the prices are just gonna stay up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Especially,
but yeah. Anyway.
Keep up there.
Sorry, Ash, what you saying?
Especially with Brexit and all, but
yeah.
There you go. There you go.
That's another topic for another day, though.
That's another topic.
We'll see what they announce at WWDC.
Yes, we'll definitely like look into that and see.
When is that now? That's
5th of June.
5th of June.
June. Okay. Interesting.
There you are. A date for your diary, people.
Date for your diary, guys.
Yeah.
But yes. Thank you very much, Sam, for joining us for this podcast. It's been great having you on.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you, Ash, as well, because you're here. But yeah, thank you very much for listening, guys, and I hope you've enjoyed this. Don't forget to leave a rating and maybe feedback if they've implemented that on. And also, don't forget to press subscribe to stay updated on when the next Quiffcast comes out. But until next time, thank you for listening, and we shall see you later, people of Earth. Say goodbye, guys.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Cool. I'll stop recording.
Good. You do that.